You're listening to Ayrshire Insights with Elliot Boyce.
This week, it's Alan Miller from Budget Blinds Ayrshire.
Welcome back to Ayrshire Insights with me, Elliot Boyce, and as promised, we have a brilliant guest on today's show for this week's Local Legend Spotlight. This man is the Managing Director of Ayrshire's largest blind supplier, and I'm delighted to welcome Alan Miller from Budget Blinds Ayrshire. Alan, a massive thanks for coming on the show today.
You're more than welcome. It's a pleasure to come down, and I'm a massive supporter of Now Ayrshire Radio.
No, I appreciate that, Alan. Now, before we get started, we want to know a little bit about you. Now, you're a blind man, so first of all, Velux or Venetian?
Venetian.
Blackout or sheer?
Blackout.
And remote control or pull cord?
Remote control.
There we go. So we've heard all about Alan's blind choices, but we're also going to hear a lot more about Alan and his business journey very soon.
This is the Ayrshire Insights podcast.
Never miss an episode. Hit subscribe now.
So Alan, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Shortleys in Kilmarnock.
And was your first job, have you always been involved with blinds, or has it been a bit of a mixture through your younger age?
No, I started in the building site when I was about 18, and then I moved into sales. I was unemployed for about 6 months, and then I moved into sales. I got a wee break in sales. It was selling house alarms, and then I went on to selling insurance, and then I got an opportunity to go and work with, there was a job came up for a sales representative for shades window blinds in Glasgow, and I took the opportunity and I got the job, and I was there for 13 years, and I loved my job, and I was the head rep for 10 years, and that's where I learnt it before I took the leap of faith, and 11 years ago I took the leap of faith and we started ourselves.
Was it always a dream for you to have your own business, or did you not really think about it and naturally progressed?
I think the longer I've done it, when I started doing blinds, I fell in love with blinds so much. I fell in love with the customers, the products, just building a business through customer service, and that's the one thing that I thought I could do better within Ayrshire. When I started, it was to be an Ayrshire-only business.
Now, starting in Ayrshire and only in Ayrshire, have you expanded outside Ayrshire, or are you still sticking to Ayrshire?
I'll never expand outside Ayrshire. I've seen the dark side, like working for my previous company, and when you grow a big beast, your level of service just falls. You can't maintain it. So when I started, it was more about keeping it local, keeping a level of service, keeping your after sales, keeping everything 100%, and that's what we've achieved in the last 11 years, and it has been hard, but we've done it.
So you started off presumably yourself. How did you grow that? Did you just have one property? What was the kind of initial part of Budget Blinds Ayrshire? How did you actually get started?
We get £20,000 back in PPI, so that's what started the actual business, and we bought our first 2 vans, and I took the jump, and I asked my brother if he would. My brother was doing gardening, and I asked him if he would come on board, and he was a bit dubious. He was saying, "What happens if you fail?" I said, "I won't fail. It's this is what I know, and this is what I'm going to do, and this is I know 100% I won't fail at this, and just take the jump," and we did.
An amazing story to go from it. So you and your brother, how many staff have you got working for you now?
We've got 19 staff in total. The unfortunate thing, the hard thing when you work with family, it's tough, and me and my brother kind of parted ways about 2 years ago. It's a tough thing with families in business. It's like people grow in different directions, and it's been a good thing for both of us, because I can take the business to where it's going to go. It's true self now.
Amazing how it all started to now, starting from yourself and your brother, moving through to now 19 staff. Great early day story, great journey. We're going to talk about the big wins and the biggest lessons just after this.
You're listening to Ayrshire Insights with Elliot Boyce.
This week, it's Alan Miller from Budget Blinds Ayrshire.
Now, I've heard about the early days, and now let's talk about the business journey. So, Alan, trials and tribulations through business. What was your first big win?
I think we got our first contract for a massive job. It was 100 blinds at that time when we first started, and that was the stepping stone that got the footfall. And it's been from then. It's just been for the first 6 years, it was 120 hours a week, every single week for 6 years. It was tough, but it was worth it.
When you talk contracts now, from consumer level to any of the listeners could pick up the phone and get you to come to their house. Have you had any kind of big contracts that's been notable and something that you've managed to retain throughout that's been a massive part of Budget Blinds?
See, we don't do a lot of contracts. That's one thing we don't do because it's more about the general public. And one thing you've got to be careful is when you take on contracts, you're going to take the light away from your general public, and that's one thing you have to be very careful of. We do a lot of contracts for the councils, whether it's South, North or East Ayrshire, but we try and stay away from big contracts in general. Speaking
to various businesses through the show, you always hear about the customer service coming first. Now, clearly with your background, moving from being on the trade and on the tools, getting into sales, working through blinds and making yourself to the kind of head rep in your previous employment prior to starting yourself, how would you feel about the kind of customer retention? Now, people tend to get blinds, are probably getting blinds once every so many years, but to the word of mouth, the families, I'm sure that you've got people who the surnames all kind of resonate and a lot of people kicking on. How do you think that you find it the best to keep the retention, keep customer service and keep that going?
I think always being part of the business, never taking your foot off the gas. For me, I've been there from day one. I see everything that happens. So I think being there now, we're not a 9 to 5 business. Now, we start at 5, 6 in the morning and we answer the phone up until 10 o'clock at night, and that's Monday to Friday. So if you phone at night time, you either get me or my wife at night time because we're very committed. It's never been about the money, it's about being the customer care, and that's one thing that, it's all I care about is my customers. All I care about is the product, and all I care about is making sure things are done right first time.
And that's why you've grown to be the largest blind supplier here in Ayrshire.
It is, like, we work so hard and we care so much, and it's amazing because you do get, I think what's wrong in this day and age is customers get let down left, right and centre, and that's not just in our industry, it's in every industry. And I think the massive thing is people get their back up like dead quick. So once you speak to me, they start to see this guy actually cares. He's not like a one-trick pony, and I think that's what's wrong. People take your money, but they don't want a level of service. And one thing that we offer is when it's a year, or 2 year, or 3 years down the line, we still come back out and fix it. And I think that's the main ethos when the business started, and it's never changed. It's never a problem, and customers phone in and say, listen, that's fine, we'll come out and check it. And customers are quite amazed, but they're quite shocked that you've still got that level of service.
And that's, and again, continuing that journey and keeping the retention, word of mouth, passing things through. Now, running a business is full of its challenges, some of which you've mentioned. What would you say the biggest challenge in running a business, and also a staff of 19, because 19 is a decent number of staff to keep in control and manage and work through. What would you say your biggest challenge is in running a business?
Staff. I would, and I think every business owner would say exactly the same thing. It's staff, and I think you have to be there. For years, what I always relate back to, obviously the last 8 years prior to I took charge, it was kind of split, and it was run as 2 separate businesses, and now it's run as one business. And now I'm very focused on making sure all the staff are happy, they get out with the right numbers, and it's quality over quantity. And I'll police everything. So if anything comes up, it's me in the end of the phone. It's if anything goes wrong, and if the staff aren't happy, they're straight into the office. Right, okay, what's wrong? And I think that's the biggest thing. You have to understand your staff, and you have to care. And that's one thing that we do. It's not just about the customers; it's about the full team. But we've got an amazing team, and that's a brilliant thing.
How do you find retention of staff?
Retention of staff have always been fine. Obviously 2 years ago there was a kind of flip side on the business, and we did have to regroup. And you know what, I was always afraid of losing staff. And listen, I don't want to lose staff, and that's one thing that I don't, because I love my staff, I love my customers, I love everything about this business. And we are we don't pay minimum wage or living wage. We pay above it because we want to retain our staff. And the one thing we do care so much about is making sure the staff are happy.
You work with the staff work well with you.
They do. Yeah, if you look after the staff will look after you. And when you come into our factory and you speak to the fitters, you speak to the office girls, you speak to the factory staff, we've got a great working relationship, and everybody, we laugh, joke, carry on. It's not kind of dead serious. It's fun. It's a fun place to work.
You're listening to Ayrshire Insights with Elliot Boyce.
This week, it's Alan Miller from Budget Blinds Ayrshire.
Now, Alan, it's time to talk community charity and Ayrshire Pride, but before we do that, the listeners have been in touch to let me know their weekly bargain. So the question with you, what's your bargain of the week that you've got for a tenner?
3 Pro V golf balls for a tenner.
There we go, so you're a big golfer as well.
Love my golf.
Where is it you play out of?
I play at Glasgow Gales and Kilmarnock Brassy.
Right all around Ayrshire, sticking to Ayrshire, even for your blinds and your golf.
I do.
So Alan, back to you. Why support local causes like us here at Now Ayrshire Radio?
Because it's all about Ayrshire. That's really what I've always been about, all about Ayrshire. And it's all about, like, the Ayrshire businesses matter. Like, what I'll always say is everybody, I'm going to revert away for this a wee bit, but everybody should support local businesses locally rather than going further afield, because one, you should get a far level better service, you get a far level of customer care, and these companies will look after you, or they should look after you, because it's their name at the end of the day. And that's why we support Now Ayrshire Radio, because it's Ayrshire only and it's very much caring and built on what our foundations have been built on.
Now, we appreciate that as well, Alan. Now, supporting Now Ayrshire Radio, you'll see it right round even here at the studio. But what does that, our tagline, what does that local feeling mean to you?
It means everything. It does. It means everything. It's, born and bred in Ayrshire, and I would never go outside Ayrshire. This means the world to me. It's this is what it's all about.
How has Budget Blinds made an impact locally?
I think we've made an impact locally. I think quite a lot. We always try and give back at every given turn. We're not a money orientated business. We always give back to local charities. We do giveaways and every other month, and we always give back, because that's what it's all about. Because if it wasn't for the people of Ayrshire, then we couldn't do what we do.
So we're going to finish strong with a fun round and find out what's next for Budget Blinds Ayrshire's founder Alan just after this.
Tune in live every Sunday from 10 a.m. for Ayrshire Insights with Elliot Boyce.
Only on Now Ayrshire Radio.
Now Ayrshire.
If you've just joined us, I'm with Alan Miller from Budget Blinds Ayrshire, and it's now time for 5 fast ones. So Alan, I don't want you to think about it, just shout out the first answer that comes into your head. Are you ready to play 5 fast ones?
Yes.
Right, let's go. Favourite takeaway?
It's Chinese.
A song that always lifts your mood?
Don't Stop Me Now.
The best thing about Ayrshire?
The people of Ayrshire.
Weirdest moment at work?
We installed sensors in the toilets on the outside, and the light went off while one of the employees was doing the toilet. And when I come back in, he wasn't too happy, and he was telling me he was handing his notice in because the light went out, which still to this day, it's the weirdest thing I've ever known. Surely you can do your business in the dark, but listen, it still puzzles me.
The weirdest moment we've heard on the radio. Who plays you in the movie of your life?
Elvis Presley.
Right, thanks for playing 5 fast ones. We'll be asking our guests every week to get involved. Now back to you, Alan. What's next for you and your business?
Just doing what we do, looking after the customers of Ayrshire, building a business with the best customer care, the best after sales, and something that we're going to be here for the next 20 years, 30 years. We're going to always be here. It's something we care very much about, and something that I'll never stop doing because I love it.
Amazing. Now, what's one thing you hope for Ayrshire's future?
Just the local businesses stick to local businesses. The local people buy from local people, because you don't get the level of service when you go further afield. When you go nationwide, you don't get that level of service. And that's a note to probably all businesses, that we all have to have a 5-star service and a 5-star after sales.
Amazing. Now listen, thank you very much for coming on the show. But before we finish up, I'm looking for your final shout outs and thanks. Who's helped you in your journey through to where you are today?
Do you know, my wife, for one, has always been there, do you know, and that's one thing. She's always directed me, she's always guided me, and very much part of is my nephew Stephen, who's always been there from the start. And you know, he's the backbone of the business as well. He runs the office, and you know, I couldn't do it without my wife nor Stephen. But putting them to one side, we've got such an amazing team, and we couldn't do it without all the staff. And we have got an amazing team. We have got an amazing footing, and that's without our customers of Ayrshire also. You know, we couldn't do it without them.
Alan, a massive thanks for coming on the show today.
Thanks very much.
This is the Ayrshire Insights podcast.
Never miss an episode. Hit subscribe now.